Good afternoon. My name is Jenny James, and my role is Society Communications Manager. With you today is also David Deaton, who is the Director of Global Society Services and is my leader. Today, we're going to share with you an overview of Society Leader Communications, as well as some words of wisdom, insights, and more. So as you can see, I'm not here in person with you today because I am seated in this blue chair on a previously scheduled vacation. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity to share our communication strategy and some other details with you about how we connect with society leaders. Because I've recorded this, David will be taking questions at the end. So please feel free to write down any thoughts or questions that you have. And we'll definitely have time at the end of this video to answer those. So my role in the Global Society Services team is focused on keeping you and your volunteers updated on what is happening at CFA Institute and the resources available for you and your volunteers. So the big question is how do we do this? To kind of lay the groundwork, in fiscal year 14, society leader satisfaction with communications was at 66%. If any member of staff wanted to send an email to any subset of society leaders, they could do so. There was no schedule, there were no limitations, there were no protocols around that. So my role was created about that time, and one of the first tasks I had was to create a defined set of communication channels, promote it across the entire organization, and then start to manage the flow of communications out to society leaders and society staff. We've had a lot of success with that. Society leader satisfaction with communications has been hovering around the 85th percentile in the past couple of years. So I'm really, really happy that our hard work has paid off. Here you can see a summary of all the channels that we use to communicate with you. We're going to review them all, starting with the email and board-only areas first, and then we'll dig a little deeper into some of the others. So first, we'll talk about the email channels, which we consider to be the weekly channels. The Wednesday updates, starting at the top, they go to all leaders, and those include shorter reminders, quick updates on resources, and details on systems downtimes. Those are just some examples. There's a wide range of things that can be included in those. Okay, so those are on Wednesdays, and then Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays we reserve for what we call standalone emails. These are typically launches of new initiatives, executive updates, and they also include targeted communications about a specific topic, such as programs or scholarships. So those are the weekly communications. Next, we have the monthly communication, which is the regional newsletter. These are usually sent the second week of each month, and they include both a recap of the global content from the prior month and updates from regional teams as well. And the funny thing is, whenever I explain the content of the regional newsletters, very few people have recognized that half of the content is just a recap of what we had already sent out. But it's a nice way to kind of remind you of new resources or things that are coming up, and deadlines and conferences and things like that. For the regional newsletters, Morgan and Liz Oakland will manage the regional content. So if you have any ideas of things you'd like to share with the rest of the region, please send to them and they can get it into the schedule for an upcoming newsletter. The format of these is a PDF attached in an email, and the email has the table of contents listed in it. But we're looking to gather some feedback in the next couple of months as to whether you would prefer a digital format. We would love to move to a digital format. We think it will look prettier. We're all about things looking pretty. And we think it's just going to have it'll be more heavily branded and will look greater. Will look greater. Will look great. So hopefully we'll get that feedback. And actually, since you're gathered here, let's have a quick informal poll. If you prefer to keep the printable format, please raise your hand. And I'm imagining now that David is counting those hands. And then if you would prefer a digital format, let's raise your hand now too. Well, I can't wait to hear what the outcome is of just this quick little poll. So I know you all understand the scope of the emails. You should be receiving all of them. But in fiscal year 16, we sent 170 society leader communications with an overall open rate of 45.8%. I did a quick look at open rates, and we're steady at in the mid 40th percentile on open rate still. So that's been fairly consistent. One other channel that I wanted to mention before we moved on are the board-only areas of the society websites. Here is where we have stored the custom society marketing materials for each society. We know that location and format is not ideal. The challenges that we're trying to solve for in finding a new home for them is that the Society Center can't handle design files, design file types, and then also we need to segment access by society. So those are kind of the restrictions that we're working with, and I'm hopeful in the next year that we'll have some solutions to share with you. I won't give you any hints yet because I don't know what's actually going to pan out, but we are actively working on identifying how we can make that easier for you to get to those. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to our newest communication channel, the CFA Institute Society Leaders LinkedIn group. We know that society leaders and society staff are always looking for ways to learn from each other and identify ways that you can collaborate, and this is the tool for doing that. We're making a concerted effort to allow this to be a society leader-driven channel and not just be another way that we push information out to you as an organization. The size of the group has doubled since we relaunched it. But we've had very little pickup in conversations being posted by society leaders. We even did some promotion of it at the SLC, and that still generated a low level of interest in the board. So we're going to continue to promote it. And if your board and volunteers are looking for ideas or guidance, please encourage them to use this site. We are approving only current and past society leaders. So if you have other volunteers that you'd like to have access, just go ahead and email me their email addresses, and we'll add them. We'll invite them to join the site. And we'll talk a little bit later. The board roster helps us identify who's a leader, but that we'll talk about at the end of this session. Moving on to Connections. Connections is a quarterly society leader magazine. And the big news here is that we are about to launch our first digital magazine with the June issue in late June. And we're really, really excited. We've put a lot of work into it. It's a really snazzy portal, and I think it's going to be a great tool for you to learn about other society initiatives. So Connections is a peer-to-peer magazine. It focuses on successful society stories. The June issue will be on the power of the personal, so we'll be talking about some excellent individuals that have highly contributed to their societies and the society network. And so we're looking forward to sharing that with you. Some great features about this site is that it will continue to hold all past editions as well. So there'll be an archive here of articles from editions from March 2017 going forward. You can use the filter feature on the right to search by date range of stories, by region, or also by topic. So if you're looking for ideas, you can come to this site and use that filter feature. Some other great technology things enabled on this site. We're going to have a lot more video content. You'll be able to share stories on social media, and you can now download individual stories as PDFs. So this site is public, but we're not going to be promoting it to members. We're going to leave that up to societies to pick what you want to promote to your members, what you think will be of interest to them. But by making it public, it gives you the ability to spread it out just beyond your society leadership. One of the really great things that we've had a lot of conversations about even last week is that we're going to have a lot more usage data to understand how the content is being consumed. It's agile enough that we can adapt it based on that data to keep making it better. Some examples include we'll be able to move stories around the page if we notice that the page location is impacting how much it's being viewed. If users are digesting the shorter articles more frequently than the longer ones, we can adjust. And the opposite way too, if longer articles tend to be preferred, we can move to that for the next issues. And then the video content, if you're liking the videos, if you're watching them, if the longer ones resonate or the shorter ones, we'll have all that information to kind of guide us with future stories on the site. So stay tuned for that. As I was saying, I'm really, really jazzed about it. It's a really massive improvement over moving forward of what we had before. The Society Center. Now, I hope that you are all already using the site on a regular basis, but if you are not, get to know it. It is a website, password-protected website with society resources from the organization. We spend a lot of time monitoring the site and keeping it updated. Just to give you an example, I picked a random day. On Monday, June 5th, we updated 5 different pages of this site with a variety of content. So in addition to these regular updates that we do pretty much on a daily basis, we have also been continuously working on restructuring sections to make them better reflect how we are all working together. And so I have on this page 3 sections that have recently had major updates. I'm going to go back from right to left. The awards section, we've just posted all of the award-winning applications from the 2017 awards season. The membership team also took a holistic view of their pages and were able to streamline 6 pages of content into 3, making it easier for you to find both campaign and general resources. And you may have already heard about this one earlier from Bob, but the Society Advocacy team did a tremendous amount of work to identify which resources you need for local advocacy and to arrange them in a way that makes sense for your various activities. So if you're interested in any of those areas, I would encourage you to take a look at them.